The truth about male commitment isn't what you think. Most women are getting it completely wrong, pushing away the very thing they want most. But today, I'm going to share something that will change everything you thought you knew about getting him to commit. You see, in my years of helping women transform their relationships, I've discovered one powerful rule that triggers a man's natural desire to commit. This isn't about manipulation or games. It's about understanding a fundamental truth that's been right in front of you all along. What if I told you that the way you've been approaching commitment is actually working against you? The standard relationship advice you've been following might be the very reason he's pulling away. But here's the fascinating part. When women understand and apply this one rule I'm about to share, men don't just commit. They pursue commitment with a passion you never thought possible. This isn't just another dating tip. It's a complete paradigm shift that will transform how you show up in relationships. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why men suddenly become eager to commit when you practice this rule. And the best part? It all starts with something you already possess. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share isn't just going to change your relationship status. It's going to change your entire approach to love. At its core, male commitment flows from a deeply rooted psychological pattern, one that most women completely miss. Men operate on an entirely different wavelength when it comes to emotional decisions, especially about commitment. While they might seem distant or hesitant, something fascinating happens in their minds during moments of authentic connection. Research into male psychology reveals that commitment decisions stem from a primal part of their brain, not from logical reasoning or external pressure. When men feel forced or coerced into commitment, their natural response is to pull away. It's an instinctive reaction, almost like a rubber band stretching back. This explains why pushing, nagging, or trying to convince a man to commit often backfires spectacularly. Most relationship experts miss a crucial point. Men don't actually fear commitment itself. Instead, they fear losing their sense of autonomy and personal power. Deep within every man lies an innate desire to protect and provide, but this desire only activates when he feels it's his choice, his decision, his moment to step forward. Looking at successful, long-term relationships reveals a striking pattern. In cases where men eagerly committed, their partners hadn't focused on securing commitment at all. Instead, these women understood and respected this fundamental aspect of male psychology. They created an environment where commitment felt like a natural progression rather than an obligation or demand. Men seek emotional safety before they can fully open themselves to commitment. When they sense pressure or manipulation, their guard goes up immediately. But when they feel accepted and understood for who they are, without the weight of expectations, something miraculous happens. Their natural protector instinct kicks in. This isn't about playing games or using manipulation tactics. It's about aligning with natural male psychology in a way that allows commitment to unfold organically. As counterintuitive as it might seem, giving a man the space to choose commitment freely actually accelerates his desire to commit fully. In relationships where this principle is applied correctly, men often surprise everyone by being the ones to initiate deeper commitment. They move forward not out of obligation, but from a genuine desire to build something meaningful and lasting. Deep beneath surface-level excuses lies a core fear that paralyzes men from fully committing, and it's not what society typically assumes. Rather than fearing loss of freedom or other relationships, Men carry a profound fear of emotional inadequacy. This hidden vulnerability shapes their decisions about commitment more powerfully than any external factor. Masculine energy naturally seeks to provide, protect, and make their partner happy. When men doubt their ability to fulfill these roles effectively, they instinctively pull back. It's similar to how a skilled athlete might hesitate before a crucial game if they're unsure about their performance. This doubt creates an internal conflict between their desire to commit and their fear of failing at it. Men rarely verbalize these deeper fears, even to themselves. Society conditions them to maintain a strong exterior, making it challenging for them to express vulnerability. Instead of admitting their concerns about being enough in a relationship, they often mask these feelings with more socially acceptable excuses like bad timing or focusing on career. What's fascinating is how this fear manifests in daily interactions. A man might show all signs of being deeply in love, yet still hesitate to take that final step toward commitment. He might invest time, energy, and resources into relationship, but maintain an emotional escape route. This apparently contradictory behavior stems from his subconscious need to protect himself from potential emotional failure. Women often misinterpret this hesitation as lack of interest or love, when in reality, it's quite opposite. Strong feelings actually intensify this fear because they raise stakes of potential failure. When a man deeply cares about someone, his fear of disappointing them or not measuring up becomes more acute. Behind every commitment-phobic behavior lies a man who's actually afraid of not being capable enough to maintain lasting happiness in relationship. This fear runs so deep that many men prefer avoiding commitment altogether rather than risking emotional inadequacy. They'd rather be seen as uncommitted than incompetent. This psychological barrier explains why traditional approaches to securing commitment often backfire. Pressure tactics or ultimatums only amplify these underlying fears, pushing men further into their protective shells. By recognizing this hidden emotional dynamic, we can approach commitment conversations from an entirely different angle, one that addresses root cause rather than symptoms. Magnetic energy radiates from within when self-worth becomes unshakable. It's a fundamental law of relationships that we attract what we genuinely feel we deserve. This isn't about surface-level confidence or putting on a show. It's about cultivating an inner certainty that transforms how men respond to our presence. Life reflects back what we believe about ourselves. When inner doubts cloud our self-image, relationships mirror these insecurities through partners who are emotionally unavailable or commitment shy. But something remarkable happens when genuine self-worth takes root. Men naturally gravitate toward offering deeper commitment. Relationships act as mirrors, reflecting our deepest beliefs about love and worthiness. Each interaction carries energy that either draws people closer or pushes them away. Women who've mastered this principle don't chase commitment. They embody an energy that makes commitment a natural response from men. Inner work creates outer results. By healing old wounds and releasing limiting beliefs about love, women naturally shift into an energy that commands respect and devotion. This isn't about changing external behaviors. It's about transforming internal vibrations that men can sense instinctively. Self-worth becomes evident in subtle ways. How boundaries are set, how time is valued, how love is given and received. When a woman truly knows her worth, She stops accepting crumbs of attention and half-hearted commitments. This energetic shift sends clear signals that ripple through every interaction. Men are highly attuned to this energy, even if they can't explain why. They feel drawn to women who radiate self-assured peace rather than anxious need. It's like being pulled into orbit around a stable, bright star versus getting caught in turbulent emotional storms. Sacred self-love creates an aura of completeness that paradoxically makes men want to add to that fullness. Unlike neediness, which repels, this energy of self-sufficiency acts as a powerful attractant. Men sense they're choosing to enhance an already complete life rather than being required to fill an emotional void. Cultivating this energy requires consistent inner practice, affirming self-worth daily, maintaining healthy boundaries, and trusting divine timing in relationships. As internal worth stabilizes, external reality shifts to match this new frequency, often bringing surprising changes in how men respond with commitment and devotion. Now comes time to reveal that one powerful rule that transforms everything: emotional self-sufficiency. This principle runs deeper than basic independence. It's about becoming emotionally complete within yourself before seeking commitment from another. Emotional self-sufficiency means finding joy, validation, and fulfillment independently of relationship status. It's mastering inner peace regardless of whether he calls, texts, or shows up. When women embody this energy, men instinctively sense they're connecting with someone who chooses them rather than needs them. Raw truth? Men commit deeply to women they can't emotionally destabilize. When happiness, worth, and emotional stability remain constant regardless of his actions, it triggers something primal in masculine psychology. They become intrigued by someone they can't emotionally shake. Building emotional self-sufficiency starts with small daily choices. It means choosing self-soothing over seeking validation, creating happiness rather than waiting for it, finding purpose beyond relationship status. These subtle shifts create massive changes in relationship dynamics. Paradoxically, becoming emotionally self-sufficient makes you more attractive and compelling to men. They sense an unshakable core that isn't dependent on their presence or approval. This quality stands out in today's world where emotional dependency has become normalized. Here's what emotional self-sufficiency looks like in practice. When he pulls away, you stay centered in your worth. When communication slows down, you remain anchored in peace. When uncertainty arises, you trust your own emotional stability. This consistent inner strength becomes irresistibly attractive to men. Many women fear that emotional self-sufficiency means becoming cold or distant. Nothing could be further from truth. It actually allows for deeper, more authentic connections because you're choosing love from wholeness rather than need. You can be both nurturing and self-sufficient, both loving and emotionally independent. Mastering this rule requires rewiring old patterns of emotional dependency. It means catching yourself when seeking external validation and consciously choosing self-reference instead. Every time you maintain emotional balance despite relationship uncertainties, you strengthen this power within. Men commit naturally when they realize they're with someone who doesn't need saving, fixing, or constant reassurance. Emotional self-sufficiency creates space for genuine partnership rather than codependency. It allows men to choose commitment freely rather than feeling emotionally pressured into it. Magnetic attraction emerges naturally when emotional self-sufficiency becomes second nature. Something profound shifts in relationship dynamics. men start pursuing commitment instead of running from it. It's like watching a law of physics unfold in real time. This magnetic pull operates on multiple levels simultaneously. On surface level, emotional self-sufficiency creates healthy space in relationships, allowing men to move forward without feeling pressured or trapped. But deeper psychological forces are also at work, triggering primal masculine instincts. Men instinctively gravitate toward women who maintain their emotional center. It's similar to being drawn into orbit around a stable celestial body. They feel pull of someone who isn't easily thrown off balance by their actions or reactions. This stability becomes incredibly attractive in a world full of emotional chaos. Watching how this magnetism develops reveals fascinating patterns. Initially, men might test this emotional self-sufficiency, consciously or unconsciously. They might pull away slightly or become less communicative. When met with calm self-assurance rather than anxiety or pursuit, their attraction intensifies dramatically. Self-sufficient women naturally create intrigue because they break typical relationship patterns. Instead of chasing reassurance, they remain anchored in their own worth. Rather than seeking constant connection, they maintain fulfilling, independent lives. These qualities make men want to earn their attention rather than take it for granted. Something remarkable happens when women stop making men responsible for their emotional well-being. Men feel free to give love without feeling burdened by emotional pressure. This freedom, paradoxically, makes them more eager to commit because they're choosing it rather than being manipulated into it. Emotional self-sufficiency also creates healthy tension in relationships. Not neediness or game playing, but natural space that allows attraction to build. Men value what they have to invest energy into pursuing. When women aren't readily available due to genuine self-fulfillment, men often find themselves thinking about them more frequently. This magnetic quality extends beyond initial attraction. It sustains long-term interest and commitment. Men stay intrigued by women who maintain their individual identity within relationships. Each interaction becomes opportunity to discover more rather than attempt to fill emotional void. By embodying emotional self-sufficiency, women activate an almost archetypal attraction pattern. Men sense they're connecting with someone who brings wholeness to table rather than seeking completion through relationship. This dynamic naturally evolves into deeper commitment because it's built on strength rather than need. Breaking emotional self-sufficiency happens subtly, often in ways that seem harmless or even loving. Several critical mistakes can shatter this magnetic energy, turning potential commitment into distance and doubt. Constant availability ranks among biggest pitfalls. Dropping everything to respond to texts, rearranging schedules at last minute, or always being free when he calls might feel dedicated, but it signals emotional dependency. This behavior tells him subconsciously that personal life stops when he appears. Overanalyzing his actions creates emotional turbulence that ripples through relationships. Spending hours dissecting text messages, scrutinizing social media activity, or seeking hidden meanings in casual comments drains energy from self-sufficiency. Each moment spent in analysis mode is moment lost from personal growth and genuine self-focus. Emotional reactivity destroys carefully built self-sufficiency faster than almost anything else. When small changes in his behavior trigger anxiety, anger, or desperate need for reassurance, it reveals underlying dependency. Quick emotional shifts based on his actions show him he has power over emotional stability. Seeking constant validation through indirect means undermines this rule severely. Posting on social media, hoping he'll notice, creating situations to make him jealous, or fishing for compliments all stem from same root, emotional dependency. These behaviors signal insecurity rather than self-sufficiency. Living in future fantasies rather than present reality creates dangerous emotional attachment. Planning future events without commitment, daydreaming about wedding details, or mentally moving relationship forward faster than its natural pace, all break connection with current emotional independence. Neglecting personal growth while focusing on relationship progress damages self-sufficiency foundation. Putting aside hobbies, dismissing friendships, or postponing career goals to prioritize potential relationship all signal readiness to compromise self-partnership. Accepting less than deserved out of fear shows crack in emotional independence. Making excuses for poor treatment, justifying lack of effort, or settling for crumbs of attention all demonstrate willingness to trade self-worth for relationship security. Taking responsibility for his emotions or growth contradicts core principles of self-sufficiency. Trying to manage his feelings, solve his problems, or guide his personal development shifts focus from self to other, breaking essential emotional independence. These mistakes often creep in gradually, making them harder to spot and correct. Each small compromise of emotional self-sufficiency contributes to larger pattern that ultimately repels rather than attracts commitment. Success in emotional self-sufficiency requires daily, consistent action that builds new patterns. Real-world implementation starts with morning rituals, cultivating inner peace before checking messages or social media. Setting intentions for personal joy becomes priority, creating firm foundation for entire day. Practical application means responding instead of reacting. When he takes hours to reply, using that time for self-development rather than anxiety. Reading books, pursuing hobbies, connecting with friends, or working on personal projects fills time with meaningful activities rather than waiting. Daily exercises in emotional independence strengthen this muscle naturally, making decisions without seeking approval, choosing activities based on personal desires rather than potential reactions, and maintaining separate friendships all reinforce self-sufficiency. Each independent choice builds stronger emotional core. Social situations offer perfect practice ground. Attending events alone, engaging in conversations without mentioning relationship status, and genuinely enjoying moments without digital documentation prove emotional self-sufficiency to yourself and others. These actions demonstrate comfort in own skin, regardless of relationship dynamics. Professional life provides abundant opportunities for implementation. Setting career goals independent of relationship status, pursuing advancement opportunities without considering impact on dating life, and maintaining work-life boundaries showcase emotional maturity and self-sufficiency in practical ways. Physical self-care practices cement emotional independence daily. Exercise routines, healthy eating habits, and proper rest aren't dependent on relationship status or approval. Taking care of body and mind demonstrates commitment to self-worth through actions rather than words. Managing communication patterns reveals emotional self-sufficiency in action. Setting specific times for checking messages, maintaining healthy response delays, and avoiding constant digital connection shows respect for personal time and energy. These boundaries communicate self-respect naturally. Financial independence plays a crucial role in implementation. Managing money wisely, saving for personal goals, and making independent purchase decisions without seeking approval strengthen overall self-sufficiency. Economic stability supports emotional independence tangibly. Spiritual practices ground emotional self-sufficiency deeply. Meditation, journaling, or prayer create internal stability independent of external circumstances. These practices develop inner strength that remains steady through relationship fluctuations. Building support networks outside romantic relationships reinforces emotional self-sufficiency practically. Regular connection with friends, family, and mentors ensures emotional needs don't fall solely on potential partner. Diverse relationships create balanced emotional ecosystem. Practicing emotional self-sufficiency creates waves of positive change that ripple through every aspect of relationships. Initial shifts might seem subtle, but they quickly expand into profound transformations that affect both partners deeply. Men begin responding differently, often without realizing why. They call more consistently, make concrete plans instead of vague suggestions, and show up more fully in relationships. This happens naturally, without pressure or manipulation, simply because they sense newfound emotional stability. Conversations deepen significantly when emotional self-sufficiency takes root. Instead of surface-level chat or relationship status discussions, dialogue flows toward meaningful topics, shared dreams, and genuine connection. Both partners feel safe expressing thoughts without fear of emotional turbulence. Mutual respect grows organically as emotional independence strengthens. Men start valuing time together more highly because it's freely given rather than desperately sought. Each moment becomes choice rather than obligation, creating deeper appreciation and connection. Decision-making within relationships transforms completely. Rather than one person constantly compromising to maintain peace, choices emerge from a place of mutual consideration and respect. Both partners feel empowered to express preferences honestly. Conflicts resolve more smoothly when emotional self-sufficiency guides responses. Arguments become opportunities for growth rather than emotional warfare. Neither partner feels threatened by disagreements because core emotional stability remains intact. Previous patterns of anxiety and insecurity gradually dissolve, replaced by confident certainty in relationships' natural progression. Time apart becomes rejuvenating rather than threatening. Space between interactions fills with personal growth instead of worry. As emotional self-sufficiency strengthens, relationship dynamics shift from need-based to choice-based. Both partners stay because they want to, not because they feel emotionally dependent or obligated. This freedom paradoxically creates stronger, more lasting bonds built on genuine desire rather than emotional necessity. Mastering emotional self-sufficiency revolutionizes how men respond to commitment. By implementing this one powerful rule, relationships naturally evolve from uncertainty to deep, lasting connection. Every woman holds this transformative power within. It simply needs awakening and consistent practice. Starting today, notice how emotional independence shapes relationship dynamics. Watch as men respond differently when they sense genuine self-sufficiency. Observe how commitment flows naturally when it's not desperately sought. This isn't about playing games or manipulation. It's about becoming truly complete within yourself. Small daily choices build this new reality. Each time you choose emotional stability over reactivity, you strengthen this magnetic energy. Every moment you spend developing yourself rather than waiting for responses, you enhance your natural attractiveness. If you found value in these insights about male psychology and commitment, hit that like button right now. By subscribing to our channel, you'll discover more powerful relationship wisdom that traditional advice often misses. Turn on notifications to ensure you never miss our latest videos on creating deep, meaningful connections. Remember, true love flows abundantly when you become emotionally self-sufficient. Start applying this one rule today and watch how quickly your relationship dynamics transform. Hit subscribe, share this video with someone who needs to hear this message, and stay tuned for more relationship insights that actually work.